destined for greatness. My name is written in stars, and I will give everything, all that I have to the cause. Fight against evil, run through the pain, battle it all, this is more than a game. I am a lion and I can't be tamed, it's how it was made, there's ice in my veins, run through it all. No matter the odds, I will answer a call. The enemy knocks on the door. Even the greatest among us will fall, but the greatest will get back up. So I won't back down, and I won't give up, and I will act now, and I will stand up. They know that I'm here for it all. Rise up, no matter what's in my way. Rise up, I will do what it takes. I will keep on fighting. I'll rise through it all. Rise up, no matter what's in my way. Rise up, I will do what it takes. I will keep on fighting. I'll rise through it all. Rise up.
No matter what it is you need, you'll find it at your local Par Mar store. From gas to grocery, snacks, and everything else you always seem to run out of, Par Mar Stores has it. Need more savings? Download the Par Mar app and sign up for the Par Mar Rewards Card. You won't only see our stores in your neighborhoods, you'll see us in your neighborhoods too. We are proud to be in your town and proud to be a part of the community. Come see us at Par Mar Stores, and remember, if there's not a Par Mar store near you now, there will be soon.
Wilson Martino Dental. Did you know that 95% of our dentists have graduated from WVU? And many former players and WVU coaches trust Wilson Martino Dental with their oral health. The Mountaineers and Wilson Martino Dental. Yeah, we do that.
Hello and welcome to Mountaineer Hardcourt Legends. I screwed that one up. There's a mouthful right there. I mean, obviously, probably eating a lot here for the New Year's, so it's Mountaineer Hardcourt Legends. And I have some great guests. Our guy here with Darryl Prue, Hall of Famer, D. Prue, 86 through 89 here. He served under Coach Gail Catlett. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm good. How you doing, man? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, brother. Absolutely. And, of course, Tim Kearney, our expert in-host. If you know what, he's got one of the largest companies in the world running North American division. And all he does is he goes ahead and he seals off underneath the tunnels from he's the best, dude. He's a self-made engineer. Tim Kearney, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm tired.
Yeah, you're tired. You've been having too much fun, have you?
No, everything's going good. But, let's start off the new year right.
Absolutely. Well, that's good to hear. And the Mountaineers, unfortunately, did not start off the new year right and suffered a tough loss there in overtime to the Kansas State Wildcats, which the Bear was not happy, especially after that post game. And thinking about it and looking at it, what was your overall thought, Tim, and your thinking about that game when you watched it?
Biggest thing I saw was just the, getting, the first half and second half as far as, going back and forth as far as the scoring. But at the same time, turnovers and free throws. I mean, geez. I mean, we shot, 52% from the free throw line? My gosh. I mean, we could have won the game at the free throw line. And then all the turnovers we had in the second half was just, it was ridiculous. Yeah,
for sure. What about you, DP?
Yeah, you can't miss 18 free throws and then you expect to win a game, especially a close game. It's a 6-point game. You miss 18 free throws, you make half of those. It's a different game, and 20 turnovers could be 20 points for the other team. So that's too much to overcome, especially on the road.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you what. First of all, Lawrence Pollard was supposed to be out here. Technical difficulties, that happens. He will not be on this show, but hopefully he'll join us for future shows unless he can get it fixed. But we're going to go ahead and move on with him. But we would love to see him on here. Lawrence LP, man. It'll be a good thing out of Brooklyn. And how's he doing now, DP? Is he doing pretty good?
Yeah, he's doing pretty good. He's coaching with Sheldon Jefferson up in New York. So they stuck together after he left West Virginia, and they're doing a good job coaching up in New York.
He's a Brooklyn guy now. Are they in Brooklyn?
Yes, they are.
Oh, there, they stayed home. All right. Well, I can't wait to get those two. Well, you know, we need to get them on together as well. Because I remember at a reunion, I think they were cutting up pretty good on everybody. They were cutting everybody up. But I think you're like one of the biggest ones you're cutting. I don't know about that. But, I'll say it. Hey, but let's kick this show off because I'm excited about this. And I said, before this whole thing went off, I said Trey Mitchell, I think, is having his year. And he had his first double-double for the Mountaineers. But a lot of things went wrong for the Mountaineers. That didn't. Tim, you were talking about him as well.
No, like I said, the biggest thing was just on this whole game was the turnovers and the free throw shooting. I mean, I haven't seen that in a long time from our team. I mean, usually free throw shooting were usually about 75%, but they shot like 52% in the amount of turnovers they had. I think. I mean, the first half I was all excited, and I thought just carried over the second half, and it just went flat.
Well, they certainly did, no doubt about it. And that's going to be something we're going to be talking about a little leadership, because that's not the first time they've gone flat, D. When you think about Xavier, go back to that. When they're on fire, they're playing physical, they're hitting their shots, and then all of a sudden, silly thing here or not paying attention here, there, something happened to lose their focus, and it went fast.
Yeah, I just think they don't have a playmaker. You watch that guard from Kansas State. He was a playmaker. He makes plays for other people and makes easy plays. And West Virginia does not have that. They just have a bunch of guys just playing. And we only had 12 assists for the game and 26, 28 field goals. You know what I mean? That's is one guy had 7 assists and everybody else had 1, and a couple of people had 0. So I think, moving the ball around, having good passers and stuff, helps you more than it hurts you.
Well, there's no doubt about it. Yeah, Tim, go ahead.
No, I just the kid from Kansas State. I mean, as far as was it Noel or whatever?
Marquise.
Marquise, yeah. I mean, he killed us. I mean, he just he ran the floor like he was running everything, and we just couldn't keep up with him.
Well, we're going to have some film on him a little bit later, and we're going to talk about him. But I will say this, Kansas State, I'm looking at him as the general out there on the floor, the hardcourt for K-State basketball. I look over at football, and I see Deuce Vaughn. They're about the same height, man. And I wonder, I actually put out a tweet Saturday night. I said, I wonder if those two just like look at each other and say, we're gonna kick all their cans. It doesn't matter we're 5'8". It doesn't matter that we're gonna take football and basketball and we're gonna kill them, because that's what I saw this last couple of seasons. And you want to talk about being a general on basketball? I'm watching this dude, man. I can't believe what he has. But let's go ahead, and before we get into that, let's move on to this. I thought this was an important stat that came out in the team notes. And looking at it and here reading it, I'm going to read it from over here. When you look at their 3-point field goal or their field goal percentage, when they win, they're 50%, and when they lose, they're 42.7%. Free throw percentage, when they win, they're 75%. When they lose, they're 60%. 3-point field goal percentage, 39% when they're winning, and 30% when they're off. Free throws, attempts, 23 when they win, and you know what? It's actually 23 when they lose. Offensive rebounds a game, it's just these stats. You say sometimes the stats can give a different picture of it. Honestly, these stats do not. These are pretty much black and white, saying when you win, man, all these things line up and you're on, and when you're off, you're off. They're 10-3 now. Kansas State's 12-1. They're only 0-1. But when you got teams like Kansas coming in, Baylor, every game counts. DP, go ahead.
I think what the problem is you don't have that guy. You don't have one. You don't have a playmaker. You don't have a knockdown shooter. You don't have a reliable post scorer. You just got a bunch of guys trying to mesh together, and sometimes you're gonna have them meshing together. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes, when we can talk about Oklahoma State in a few, when they played Kansas, they jumped out on Kansas, but then Kansas shooters started making shots. We don't have that, So we talk about Trey Mitchell, but who else is going to be that consistent scorer and shooter. And, Stevenson's been up and down since the games got tougher. And we need him to, make shots. And we don't have guys to make plays besides the guards. And that's going to be a big problem going forward in this league.
What about you, Tim?
No, I think Darryl's right. And as far as Stevens, though, he needs to stay out of foul trouble. I know he's very aggressive on the defensive side, but he needs to stay out of foul trouble. And like I said, last game versus Kansas State, he didn't shoot very well. I think he's one of the keys to making things happen, as well as making sure that Bell and the other bigs inside stay out of foul trouble. I mean, they got a big thing tonight as far as coming in with who Bell's got to cover. I mean, he's a big man. He's 7'1", but he's got to stay out of foul trouble.
Yeah.
One thing to that, I think if you watch the first couple of clips of the first couple of minutes, about the first 8 minutes of the last game, they executed. All of a sudden, Kansas State upped the pressure, and they just put their head down and just started going one-on-one. And I think that hurt them. They didn't stick with the execution.
But that goes back to my point then of Xavier, because they haven't faced a team since Xavier that's that quality up until Kansas State. But there were some teams that were good, and I still believe that Birmingham was a good team, but it still wasn't K-State or Xavier. And that's what happened. And the same thing happened. Now, can this team learn? Once again, it went 4 games and went on a 4-game winning streak. Can it learn now from Kansas State in a 2-day turnaround? I think,
you got to look at it like this. They missed 18 free throws. They had 20 turnovers. They didn't play good in the second half. They only lost by 6. They went to overtime. So you got out of all the negative about the losing, that's a positive for me, because at the end of the day, they were fighting. They made plays. It's just at the end, sometimes the better teams who, that's not making that many mistakes. I think Kansas State only had 12 turnovers compared to 20 for us, and they didn't miss that many free throws. So that was a game right there. You fix that. Just concentrate on the free throws, execute better on offense, don't get sped up on offense. I think it'll be a different outcome.
Yeah, hey, Tim, listen. Go ahead.
I agree with that. What Darryl said. Plus, on top of that, with the amount of from the transfer portal, we got 3 returning people, so it's just still a matter of time. I mean, it's still early in the season for these guys to gel, and I think we're getting closer to it. Definitely, we have a whole lot of talent on this team, and I think it's going to make a big difference. Moving forward.
That's a good point you make, but is the honeymoon over? This is Big 12 play now. You had those excuses before. I mean, even K-State only had 2 starters return. So is the honeymoon over for these guys, and it's time to go ahead and start doing what you're supposed to do?
Well, I think it's going to take a couple games for them to get into the groove. That's how I feel about it. And I think once they get in the groove, I think we're going to be in a good place.
I just think it's a difference because we don't have a guard like Kansas State have, and Johnson is a big time talent. As good as Trey Mitchell is, I think talent wise Johnson is better. But they were at home. You know what I mean? Teams play better at home. Again, it was a 6-point game with all the mistakes and all the missed free throws. It was still a competitive game, and them guys didn't give up. And last year, this team would have gave up with the 10 minutes left in the second half. So I think you build on it. I wouldn't say the first game, oh man, we're gonna have a rough season. No, you just keep it moving.
Okay.
I agree with Darryl, and I think the team from last year would have given up a lot sooner.
Right. I'll agree with both of you on that, but this is not last year's team now. So with that being said, this is what Hugs needs from his guys to do better at, is winning and seizing opportunities.
Winning. Started at Stony Brook. We played Stony Brook and won by 9 key, 11. We're supposed to win by 40. That's not a knock on them, that's a knock on us. Game's about seizing opportunities. We didn't seize any opportunities. We didn't score in transition. We certainly didn't make free throws. How many one-footers you think we missed? How do you miss a one-footer? I don't understand. I don't understand how you can say you love the game and not embrace the game.
You know, so many great points with that. And what I was showing there, the contrast is, so Kansas State were scoring in transition. They were making some plays, and they were turning the ball over. They had 17 steals. 17 steals. And when you see that, and even in that transitional period, do you think, Tim, I'll start with you, do you think they were hustling pretty hard that night?
I'm not sure what they were thinking, to be honest with you. But you could obviously see, I mean, in the first half, there was a lot more intensity going on. Second half, I think the intensity kind of fell off. But overall, like I said, the transition between the first and second half was just was kind of heartbreaking for me to watch.
I agree. Go ahead, DP.
You know, when you recruit players, you try to recruit players you like. I don't think they recruited players that bought in, but I don't think they recruited defenders. I think they got more offensive-minded guys like Trey Mitchell, Stevenson, Toussaint. You know, he'll play hard defense, but they don't play the next play or play off the ball. They'll play their man hard or try to do what coach asked them to do. But I just don't think they have those natural instincts as defenders to get those steals, to stay in front of guys. You know, they're getting beat, to getting guys getting to the lane, getting layups on them. You know, we don't have a shot blocker back there, so, teams are driving. And I just think, sometimes, what you want a guy to be, it takes time. And these guys right now, just like what Mr. Kearney said.
He doesn't like when you call him that.
As my man Steve Berger said, Mr. Kearney said,
that was my dad's name.
All right. Well, now I want to go ahead and brag on this guy because I really thought we watched something special. Now, I'm obviously so favored for the Mountaineers, but you have to give respect when respect is due. And here's Kedrian talking about, as they call him, Keating, talking about Marquise Noel and his 23 points, 10 assists, 7 steals, and 3 rebounds.
Because he's small, get in tight spaces, get in gaps, but it's me. Like, if I can guard anybody in the country, it starts with me. I feel like I can guard anybody. It was just me, my lack of awareness at some points, allowing him to back up me, make plays. So I put a lot of weight on my shoulders for this loss. So.
I have to say is as he goes ahead and drives in over Toussaint and he gets, and one, that little guy right there played like a huge dude, man. Like he was the player on the floor for me watching because I saw him do stuff that I haven't seen in a long time and a lot of old basketball skills. You got no-look passes. You have floor bounce passes. It's just there was some really neat things that he did there and 7 steals. That means something's going on there that's not right on the other team, and that's the Mountaineers. TP, go ahead.
I mean, he's just he's a basketball player. He's not a one position guy. He plays the point guard, but like you said, he got 25 points, 10 assists. He got steals. He played the game. And I don't think as a whole, our team is playing the game. They're playing in spurts. They're doing what they do instead of playing the game. But, if you look at the stat sheet, those guys are not playing the total game. And it shows when we get against a guy like this. We got a point guard like him and a team from UAB that can control the game. The little guy from UAB was more of a scorer. This guy was a facilitator and could score. He got a lot of layups. And I respect Johnson for stepping up and saying what he said, but it wasn't all his fault. I mean, he missed 20 free throws. He didn't he didn't have all 18 or 20 turnovers. You know what I mean? So But the guy had a good game. I mean, the guy he was playing them hard. And when you play, I told you at the last podcast, I wouldn't push up on him. I take a step back off of him, let him shoot the ball over top of me instead of going around me. And that's what he did. He got close to him. He just cut. That's basketball.
Well, you, Tim, and let me say this: that you played against good players before. You know they're going to get theirs. You just try to limit how much they get. And for me, Keithley's saying that all about himself, but like you said, there are other factors, and there are other guys guarding him as well during the night. So again, what I loved was that his whole floor generalship that he did on that, because I haven't seen that in a long time. I really haven't. I thought it really went back to some good old stuff. But Tim, what about that? You're going to face good players, but you just got to try to limit the damage.
No, I agree with Darryl. I mean, Keaton, he had a good game. He shouldn't take blame for that. He played him tough. And like I said, and like Darryl said too, take a step off of him because he was a 5'8". He's not a big guy, but you got to take a step off of him. But the fact that Kadrian Johnson, took blame for it, I don't agree with that. I think the other players who came in and guarded him, it was just
I hear you, but I will say this: I would rather see that for leadership from your senior, that's been there, that knows Hugs the best, than going ahead and saying, "Well, it was his fault," or this happened or that happened. Excuses. That's not the. He wasn't making excuses, and he took it on. And I think, and I hope that he has a really good game tonight so that he can get off of that and go ahead and lead in a positive way. He's leading in a negative way, but it's a constructive negative. That's what coaching is.
No, I agree with that, Dale. And the fact that he stood up to it, the fact that, he's trying to be a leader on that team. And I think that's strong for this team, and that's what we need.
I agree. And especially when we talk about this, you have, of course, Stevenson and Toussaint fouled out. Now, the game went in overtime, and there's a whole 52 fouls in there, or 56. I can't remember which one it was, but that was a lot of fouls. But getting Stevenson and Toussaint, did they both get a technical? I mean, yep. That's a double whammy for each one of them. You can't have that happen, D. You can't have it.
Yeah, that's maybe that's why Stevenson's been in 3 to 4 different schools. You know what I mean? That that we like to say is fiery, but is it fiery under control, being fired up, or is it out of control? And lately, it's looked like it's been more out of control because when he gets upset and things don't go his way, he starts doing things that's not constructive to the team.
Tim?
But like I said, I don't know his past, but I agree with Darryl. I like his fiery, the way he plays, but he needs to kind of keep it controlled.
Mm-hmm. Well, what about Toussaint now? We're giving him a free pass because all you're saying is Stevenson.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, Toussaint. I don't know what I didn't see. I missed that one. What he got a tech on, but
he hit his head. I actually thought it was a very soft foul, but he did hit the head. So technically, he did touch it.
Yeah, that was I remember that was terrible. That was a terrible.
Yeah, it was
a terrible foul.
I remember that.
That was that's going that video is going to be sent to the Big 12 office referees to be talked about because that was that was incidental contact into the head. It wasn't like his hands were straight up in the air. So if my hand's above my head and the guy jumped into my hand and hits his head, like
right.
Yeah,
I mean, so that was an unfortunate, not unfortunate, it was a terrible thing.
So go ahead, Tim.
I think Toussaint is key to coming off the bench for West Virginia. I mean, coming down, through the season here, I think he could be a big part of this team. Mm-hmm. And what happened, last game, I saw the same thing, Darryl. I mean, that was ridiculous.
Well, I'll tell you this, is that Toussaint, I was disappointed because I think he's a real tough dude. And I believe he still is a real tough dude. And I think he's going to have an exceptional season, as you said, Tim. I just think that he might have to get himself used to a little bit of Big 12 play because it is the top of the line. What are you doing, D? Are you trucking, man, or what? Are you leaving?
No, it's like this dog to stop barking.
All right. Well, listen, there's something I really want to talk about this here, and that is, I had a video of Keontae Johnson. I'm not going to show it. I'm just, I'm going to talk about Emmett Matthews, right? And I talked earlier to you today, Darryl, about Emmett, and you brought up some good points. So he had 12 points. He went 39 minutes now. He was out there playing. And, he was playing hard. I saw him, and you saw him when he went up there and he got those dunks. And, man, I was like, yeah, my blood was boiling, man. That gets me fired up. And, Darryl, I'm going to go with you first because you actually had a point today you wanted to make.
Yeah, he needs to be more of a playmaker. He made 5 shots. 2 or 3 of them was fast break dunks. He got 0 turnovers and 0 assists. He didn't get no assists. So he's not there. To me, if you watch him, he's in the flow of the offense, but I think he should be more of a facilitator, help them guys out. Johnson's getting a lot of turnovers because guys are just standing there on offense, and he's trying to run the play, and the defender is being more aggressive, and it's not helping him out. And I think he has to do something else. We praise him about posting up more, and early in the year, but we need him to handle the ball more and help facilitate some stuff and, challenge the defense more instead of just getting in the lane and dunking and throwing up shots, get in the lane to throw it to somebody else. He had to do something else. And that's what we talked about earlier about playing the whole game.
What was your point about yourself? What were you, number 2 on the team in assists?
Yeah, my last year I was number 2 in assists. I always could pass the ball. I got featured more and more as I got older in the system. But I love passing the ball. You know what I mean? It made the game easier for everybody else. And so, you had Berger leading the team assists. I was second. I was a bigger forward. Then you had Herbie. Chris didn't pass much. Then you had Rave could pass a little. You know what I mean? But, it made the game flow much easier. Look how stale the offense looked in the second half. There was no ball movement. You know what I mean? There was guys cutting. Everybody's scared to pass the ball. And, I think in this day's world, in the day's game, passing is a lost art. Nobody passes the ball the correct way no more. You can't pass it in the post. There was one time I saw Stevenson. Bell had just scored 2 times in a row down low in the first half. Bell had the guy got him in good position. Stevenson looked like he's going to throw it to him, but then got pressure. He put his head down and took 2 dribbles and shot the ball. He could have did the same thing. He could have threw it to him, cut, and got the same shot, a better shot. But, the passing skill of today's game is lacking, and you see a guy Noel that's passing the ball all over the place and making it easy for his team.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, Tim. Obviously, the Mountaineers, they missed 18 free throws and 20 turnovers, 17 steals that went with that. Kansas State had 22 points off of that. 2 days. You're Bob Huggins, 2 days. How do you turn that around? How do you fix it? How do you make it better?
Well, I'm sure Bob Huggins had some words to say to these guys behind closed doors, first of all, as far as getting their proverbial head out of their asses, which is, I'm sure, what Bob Huggins said. But, going back to what Darryl said as far as passing and what's going on, I totally agree with Darryl. The fundamentals have been lost to when we used to play. Moving forward, like I said, it's just got to keep the turnovers down. We've got to start hitting some free throws. I mean, usually we're doing well on the free throw line, but the turnovers got to stop.
All right. Well, I don't know if you can see this, Tim, but we have Lawrence Pollard is joining us. Lawrence, are you on, buddy?
Yeah, I'm here, man. I'm here.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, it is so good to have you, man. You look great, LP. I'm just going to LP on your thing. Well, hey, welcome to the show, man. And, I'm going to just get right into it with you before we move into Oklahoma State, give me your opinion thus far from Saturday night about a couple things that you thought were good, maybe some things, some things you think were so good.
About the Mountaineers?
Yeah.
Well, I like Toussaint. He's a New York guy. We just gotta be more consistent offensively. For some reason we don't score the ball consistently, but the guys are playing hard. And I think at the end, in March, that's the key. I think we headed in the right direction, getting ready for March.
Yeah. So you say Toussaint's. First thing you say is Toussaint's from New York because
I love the kid, man. They should have signed them first. You gotta get New York guys in there. Anytime West Virginia is good, we usually got a DC forward and New York guard. So you know what I'm saying? I gotta throw that in there for Prue, man.
That's right, and that is Lawrence Pollard, LP, 91, 92, 94, 95. Yes, very good to have you here. So let's go ahead now, and you can jump in here when you want. And I'm going to start with Darryl because I do want to throw this question at you. We got to explain the half-court trap. I want to know what the keys for success are, the keys to failure, and why do you use a half-court trap? Because this is basketball 101. Hey, LP, this is the part of the show. This is for me, the dummies, okay, that don't understand basketball. Go ahead, Darryl.
Yeah, and I deal with a lot of dummies, man, because everybody want to coach, on the outside looking in. But when you in practice, you're around these kids every day, you in the day-to-day, you have no clue. That's why in my later years, I called Coach Catlett. I called my high school coach, my AAU coaches. I appreciate them. I love them. And I said, well, was I as goofy as these guys that, but first of all, I was running around my aunt. She's not well. And also they want to get my prayers out to Miss Catlett. She's fighting some health issues right now. Okay. So prayers go to Miss Catlett and Coach Catlett family, But going back to the trap, the half-court trap, sometimes, me personally, I'm playing 35 and a lot of things Coach Catlett has I learned from him in my West Virginia days. I instilled in a lot of stuff that I do now at my high school team here in Brooklyn. And one thing that Hugs said, I'm gonna get you a question. Hugs, when I worked at fantasy camp, he said the Press Virginia and the goal is to make guys play under pressure and be uncomfortable for 40 minutes in a college game, but in high school, 40 minutes. So now to answer your question, I think you have to give guys a different taste. That too much of anything is not good. So, depending on the team's weaknesses, they guard play, they shooters, how they react to pressure. Because like you know what's coming, so you got to hit them with things, keep them off balance. Sometimes you can overcoach, but sometimes you have to have more than one way to skin a cat, as they say, Absolutely. So, me personally, like in my gym, I have a nice gym, but it's a small gym. So we trap you everywhere. But sometimes you're expecting a 35, the full court pressure. We hit you with it looked like a zone, just a half court trap. Because once you cross the half, you can't go back. Can't go backwards, So it all depends, like I tell my team, I said sometimes when I'm sitting here, I'm looking at your body language and I'm looking at the other team's weaknesses and what they're susceptible to when they come in the bench. When they come off the bench or the guys come off the bench, are they ready? So I like to have that game so intense, so hot. When you come in the break, when you come off the bench from the other team, it's like stepping from the frying pan into the fire. So you have to mix them up. It all depends. At home, I do different things. On the road, I do different things. So the answer to your question is, it all depends on how the game is going, your team's energy, and what the other team's weaknesses are. Because as a coach, you sit there during the game, and you might say, well, it's the team I scouted. They shot the ball well. They handled it well. But today they look a little shaky with their ball. So I'm going to mix it up on them and just trap them all over,
Excellent. DP, you got anything to say to that? I don't think you can add on.
Yeah, I do. I usually do trapping out of the zone, the 2-3 zone. So I'll show you a zone in the first half, go back to man. I didn't do a lot of man trapping, but unless it was a full court 2-2-1, and if or a 1-2-1-1. But in the zone, I catch in the second half. Teams, you throw it to the forward. I had a guard in the forward trap, and take away the whole side of the floor to make them throw a skip pass. And usually, those hopefully get tipped and get them steals. So in the full court press, I got a lot of steals. I do the 2-2-1 like we did it with Catlett. I got a lot of steals off of that when I was at West Virginia. So
come on, 33.
Huh?
30 to 2-2-1 is 33.
Yeah. I didn't remember the
You gotta
number.
know the names of them. You gotta put some respect on Coach Catlett name.
No,
I use
got-
33 and 35, all that stuff.
2-2-1, and they called it a 51.
Yeah. So only thing I remember is the offense 3.
You want to shoot.
All right. Okay, so that is a really cool answer. Now listen, I know it. Now I know it. I mean, that's what I like. Don't get too far into the weeds. And Tim, I got just one question for you. Did you like the trap or not when you were playing?
He liked the trap because he just sat in the back. He ain't had to worry. He ain't had to run around. So he was just in the back waiting to block a shot.
You know how many steals I had out of that damn thing? I had a lot of steals out of there. I was just like the guy in the back, just waiting for the ball to get thrown. But we had a lot of steals. And it was a 2-2-1, and I was the back guy on that. But basically, what we were doing was trying to feed them up to the half-court line and do a trap on it, and it worked out very well.
All right.
If not, then we did a 1-3-1 where we trap in the corners as well.
Excellent. We got to move ahead here because we got to hit Oklahoma State, and this is you got some forwards there. You got a 7'1" guy, at DP. I'm gonna go Musa Sisa. Am I right? Am I right by the name? His name Musa Sisa. You got Caleb Boom, who's 6'9". Musa's 7'1", and of course they have a guy named Smith there who's about 6'9" as well. So they like to go inside the paint. And check this out here. This is a guy I was really surprised by how well he could move right there. But I got the wrong one in there. I do. Okay, going back here. We're moving along here. But I want to show this Musa here because this is important. And with that being set up right here, you can see here, Musa, this is a 7'1" guy. Are you shocked? And I'm going to start with you here, LP. Are you shocked that this 7'1" guy can move and run the way he does?
Well, I'm not shocked because I played against him. I mean, I coached against him. We played Christ. He was at Christ the King, and we played them, and they had him and the big kid from Illinois, Kofi. So they had them two guys. So we had to play them. It was him and Kofi down, and we played them, and we had them on the ropes to that last 2-3 minutes. They wore that size wore us down. But so I'm well aware of him. I watched him over the years. But he's athletic. Yeah. He gets up and down. But if he has to score with his back to the basket, I think we have the advantage right there. But if he gets up and down and the guards break us down and put him in position to catch and dunk or catch and finish, then he could hurt us. So if we can stop the guard penetration, we should be good.
That is awesome that you actually know this guy and break it down for us that way. And so, Tim, how about the other guys, Boone and Smith there? Because they're pretty active there on the boards. They're a really good offensive rebounding team.
I think the key is going to come down to Bell and what he can do as far as keeping these guys off the boards. I mean, they've also got a big lineup on the front court as well with the guards, size-wise. So, like I said, I'm hoping, Stevenson and some of these guys can, take care of that front line as well as what Bell does on the backside.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't hesitate to play Muhammad and Bell together in this game because you're gonna have a dogfight with Cisse going to the offensive rebounds, and the other big guy Barnes, he can score down low. He's a pretty good scorer in the post, and they both pretty physical. I'd like to see how a big lineup with Trey Mitchell, Muhammad, Bell, Matthews, and Toussaint or Johnson at the guard position because, the team, like you said, the team is pretty big. And I like to see that because I think we have to change it up a little bit to see what those guys can do together. And Muhammad had a hell of a game last game. He had a double-double. He was fighting, and it's funny, I don't think I'm being racist on this, but when Africans play against other Africans, they go at each other. And he went at that guy from Kansas State. He was fighting. Muhammad was fighting. That's the hardest I've seen him play so far this year.
All right, more interesting points. I appreciate that. That's good stuff. So let's check out the guards then, because you got Thompson at 23 against Kansas on Saturday night, and you had he's a streaking scorer. You got Anderson, the other guard, who they like to hit on the wing on the 3-pointers, and then you got 51 Wright, who's not afraid to take it in. They got three guards that they don't mind moving the ball and they pass it around and they're going to change position on it from side to side. As you can see there, and again, against Kansas, they jumped out on top at halftime. They're up by 15.
Yeah, I call them comfortable shooters. So they have to be open, step into their shots. And they got another one coming off the bench called Asbury. He's a really good shooter too. Anderson likes to drive it more, than actually stand there and shoot the three. And but they do a good job of throwing it into Cisse or Barnes, and if they're scoring, they're going, because all teams will double if the big guys are scoring down low, and it leaves them up open for open shots.
Yeah, Tim, what do you think on that?
No, I agree with Darryl. I mean, as far as they got to shut down the inside before. If they shut down the inside, I think we should be good to go, because that's as far as watching some of the video that Darryl's watched as well. I mean, if we can shut it down there, and like I said, control the big guards.
LP, you're used to a lot of guard play up there in New York, man. And you got three guards that can move the ball around and run around. How are you defending them?
Well, I think we should just make them play under pressure. I mean, we should put pressure on those guys, play behind the big guys, push them off the box, force them to make some back to the basket moves. And on the guards, we just have to be there on the catch. Like I agree with Prue that they're comfortable shooters. So if you're there on the catch, you closing out, you there on the catch, you know what I'm saying, make them make a play. I think it's in our advantage. I don't know how well they can defend our guards. I don't know how well if they can keep our guards out the paint. So we'll see. I think it'll be a defensive battle today. I think we could push the big guys off the box. I'm not real confident in them catching the ball and making a back to the basket move.
It depends on which guards show up tonight for us.
Yeah, that's true. Because one thing as a coach, I learned the team you scout sometimes ain't the team that shows up that night.
I know.
I gave up scouting and film, because every time I scout and watch somebody and then I play them, man, they turn into, it's like playing in the garden. They turn into the Knicks.
Yep.
I mean, they turn into a team coming into the guard. You know how they play that, the greatest performances. So I give up on that.
Yeah, but I learned in college coaching, you pump everybody up, because you never know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
You never know when someone's going to get hot.
Okay, so defensively, Oklahoma State, they like a lot of man. And when you look at them, I got this from a little bird, they're going to go 2-2-1 and back to a 2-3 zone, but they're primarily man here. And you can see the video how Kansas is attacking them. Just talk about, how do you attack man? Well, how do you like to attack? LP, I want to get you on here, man. So go ahead and start us out.
Well, how do you attack, man? You have to make, you can't go on the first touch. All right, you got to try to move the ball side to side and run a little offense. I think if we could be patient, guys going to second, maybe third touch, make them play a little defense deep into the clock. I think we can have a shot at these guys, breaking them down.
What about you, Darryl? It's like, how do you like to attack man?
I had that Princeton stuff, and we moved the ball, cutting, and we doing all different kind of things, and spacing. I just don't think our spacing is great on offense, and I don't think we can get all the one-on-one action because our spacing is bad, and Bell and Muhammad don't shoot the ball that well, to leave the lane for the center to leave the lane too. So against Kansas, Oklahoma State, they lost because them guys was knocking down threes, and them guys had to step out now and guard, the 6'9" guys, 7 foot at the guard, the shooters on the 3-point line. So it opened up the lane for drives.
Yeah, Tim, you were officially 7 foot on your driver's license, but you lied. You're really 6'11". But how are you going to go ahead and attack this team with a 7'1" center and two pretty good forwards? But the only two are really playing at one time.
Well, you got Bell, who's he's got the weight on him as far as the 7'1" guy out there. I think he can try to muscle him a little bit. But as far as on the man-to-man side of it, I think like Darryl and Lawrence were saying, as far as spreading out the court and making touch passes and spreading out the court. But as long as you keep the big guys out, and like I said, I think Bell's got the muscle to push them out. We'll see what happens.
Okay. Well, then when you look at this team defensively, and you talk about their man coverage or man defense, and now I'm thinking this: what do they got to do tonight offensively? After you're watching Saturday night, and again, you only have a 2-day turnaround. LP, coach me up. How are you putting this all together offensively for the Mountaineers and what you want to see?
Well, it all depends on the game plan or how they want to attack it. I'm not in the practice. How I will put it together is not how coach will put it. He know that personnel better than me. You know what I'm saying? I think we should just play our style and try to be aggressive, you know what I'm saying, and force the tempo up and down. Try to get some easy baskets in transition. Try to play as least amount of half court as possible if we can get up in transition,
Let me ask you this. I think you came on after this, but how do you stop turnovers on your team, your kids? If they're making a lot of turnovers, how do you get them to stop doing that?
Got to go on the portal and get some better players. You know what I'm saying? You got to get some better players. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you can't coach. You got to have some talent as well. Like when you're playing that big time basketball, guys usually turn the ball over because they're not good enough.
Okay, well, LP, that's what I'm going to remember. That's for darn sure. And let's flip that over to the other side. How are you going to go ahead and key up against their guys? Because Thompson had 23 points, but he's a streaky shooter. The guard there, they're a little bit streaky at times. They're 8-5. They're not world beaters, but they sure did take Kansas to the limit.
But I mean, they're gonna be well at home, and I think moral victories. They might have it all depends. They might come in a day after that moral victory they had the other day. You never know. It depends on the energy. It's hard to tell with these kids. These kids are moody. They're moody. They day to day. I'm a high school coach. I'm in the school with these kids. They day to day. Today's game is so unpredictable. Not like back in the days, you knew what you was going to get. These kids are just moody. So, like I said, like he shot the ball well the other day. Hopefully, like I said, we there on the catch and make things a little uncomfortable for him. But they're gonna be home today. They're gonna be trying to get a win. Both teams gonna need a win today. So it's gonna be I think both teams gonna be up for the game today.
What about you, Tim? Because this is a big game for the Mountaineers because they got Kansas and Baylor rolling in. I mean, It doesn't get any easier.
No, they got them rolling in at home. But like Lawrence was saying, it's day to day. You don't know what to expect. But and hopefully these guys understand what's going on.
Yeah, it's funny, Darryl, because I'm sitting here, 2 games ago, I'm like, I'm loving this guy, and he's playing great, and then all of a sudden, he has a bad day, and this other guy steps up, or nobody steps up, or whoever. Trey Mitchell has been on fire for 3 weeks. Now, he was.
I gotta say something here.
Yeah.
First of all, these guys are anywhere from 18 to 21 years old. And when I played, and I know when Darryl played, Lawrence, when you all played, we're still young kids. We really are, and they've got to get up for the game, and it's all about them and their mentality, what they have to do, and you got to get into their heads. And like I said, you're dealing with young men, and it's a day-to-day basis. And I see the stuff posted on Facebook and everything else from the West Virginia fans. Stand behind the team,
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Tim, I have one correction. They're not 18 to 21 no more. They're 20 to 25.
Well, because of the transfer portal, right?
Yeah, but one thing I can say for being around kids, the 20 to 25 is not the 20 to 25 back in the days when we played. It's more like 25 is like 15. These kids like little babies, They seem like they're maturing a lot later than they did before. I don't know why.
Yeah. A lot of distractions, I think. A lot of distractions.
Too many distractions.
Yeah.
Like that,
and they pampered and sensitive.
Yeah. Okay, so I got 2 more questions for you guys. And, LP, what are you going to do? How are you going to win tonight? What are you going to do overall? Obviously, you got to score more points to win. Yeah, we understand that. How are you going to go ahead and do that when you saw this team on Saturday really struggle from one half, or no, actually do great and then struggle to the next half?
Well, hopefully we can, like I said, offensively, we can cut down on live ball turnovers and we can execute, hopefully get some easy baskets, because a lot of times I say the ball, whoever gets the ball a lot of times shoots it, sometimes. So, like I said, if we can go on a second touch, run some offense and cut them live ball turnovers out and eliminate their easy baskets, try to get few ourselves, then we got a shot today.
Yeah, you know what? I'm just guessing who's going to be your player to click, but I'm going to go ahead and let you say it anyways, even though you're from Brooklyn.
Oh man, Mighty Joe Young. My God. Yo, not your ordinary Joe, this guy.
What about you, Tim? Who's going to click for you tonight?
I hope he comes back, but Stevenson and also Bell. Bell's got to really shine today.
All right, D.
I got them forwards, Mitchell and Matthews. They got to step it up even more. Like Mitchell gave us a double. Now he got to give us more. He's in the Big 12 now. He just, if he wants to take it to that next level, he got to do more. And Matthews has got to give him more as far as the assists, being a creator than just sitting there and waiting for somebody to throw him the ball.
Hey, Darryl, I got to ask you a question. You think Matthews is back up to 100% now?
I don't know. He's still playing the same way he played before. He just, we were just happy before in the previous games that he was posting up. Now in the Big 12, I haven't seen him post up yet. So, what I mean? He's just standing up.
I was just wondering about his injury with his knee and all that. I don't know if you heard anything.
I don't know how bad the injury was, but he dunked the
Bruce
ball like
knee.
he wasn't hurt. He punched that ball in that rim like it wasn't hurt.
He did it twice.
Yeah,
twice. I thought he looked pretty good doing that, so let's hope he gets it going. I actually thought he was okay on Keontae Johnson, even though Keontae did score his average, but that dude's pretty darn impressive. 6'6", 230, the way he can move the ball, move his feet and all that. So I thought, he was battling anyways. He didn't back down. That's for one thing.
He's on the battle.
Okay, fellas. Well, let's see. Did I ask you, Darryl, who's your standout? Yeah, you did. Okay, so my standout player is this. I say that Stevenson is going to make a huge comeback, and he's going to just hit all the shots, and he's not going to get a technical. I do believe that this team will try to learn from their mistakes, at least in a temporary fashion, until they have to be reminded. Again, I do think that. We will see. I want to think, hey, LP Lewis, will you come back and join us, man? We had such a short time with you here.
All right, cool. Anytime.
Hey,
Yeah,
Dale.
man.
Let LP tell everybody what he's doing, so everybody know what he's doing.
Absolutely, go ahead.
What I'm doing in terms of what I'm doing in my life right now?
Yeah, coaching and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. So, I'm coaching at Jefferson High School in Brooklyn, New York. And we're a perennial power out here in Brooklyn, the public school league. And we just got back from Arizona from a tournament, and we played in Connecticut last week. So I gave the guy a couple of days off. And right now we're in the hardest. We're going to the second half of the season. We wanted to we're like number 3 in the state. And my better players are sophomores. So we got one senior that's good. I think trying to get Eric. He's coming to see him next week. What's the guy name who left and went to
Eric Martin.
State. Yeah, Eric Martin. Big E.
Eric Martin. Yeah, Eric's coming to see him the other day. So he's not. I don't think he's a major college player. I think maybe my sophomores might be. And hopefully they won't drop the ball like they did on Shamari Pons. I told them take Pons, and take Dunn. These guys went to St. John's and became legends in the city, but they was wanted to be Mountaineers. But anyway, so hopefully these sophomores they could take. But I got a kid I think I help Eric next year.
Okay. Let me ask you this question. I'm dying to know. How good is New York basketball in the city?
Right now it's really good. We got a lot of great teams. We got about four nationally ranked teams.
Right.
The Catholic League is really solid. A lot of major college players in that league and highly ranked players in that league. Public school wise, we got a lot of younger players. We got a few guys, the seniors, like one of my kids, but most of our talent is younger. So right now the Catholic League has a lot of good juniors and seniors in there.
Okay. Well, I sure hope that Larry's got you on speed dial.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
All right.
All right, man. I enjoy you guys.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And again, you're welcome back anytime you can. I know you're busy. Tim, D, thank you so much. Let's go Mountaineers. Let's win, baby. We're
all right. Yeah. Did it, guys.
Good.
All right, boys.
All right.
Right. Very good. Right.
Destined for greatness. My name is written in stars. And I will give everything, all that I have to the cause. Fight against evil, run through the pain, battle it all, this is more than a game. I am a lion and I can't be tamed, it's how it was made, there's ice in my veins, run through it all. No matter the odds, I will answer the call, the enemy knocks on the door. Even the greatest among us will fall, but the greatest will get back up. So I won't back down and I won't give up, and I will act now and I will stand up. They know that that I'm here for it all. Rise up, no matter what's in my way. Rise up, I will do what it takes. I will keep on fighting. I'll rise through it all. Rise up, no matter what's in my way. Rise up, I will do what it takes. I will keep on fighting. I'll rise through it all. Rise up.
No matter what it is you need, you'll find it at your local Par Mar store. From gas to grocery, snacks, and everything else you always seem to run out of, Par Mar Stores has it. Need more savings? Download the Par Mar app and sign up for the Par Mar Rewards Card. You won't only see our stores in your neighborhoods, you'll see us in your neighborhoods too. We are proud to be in your town and proud to be a part of the community. Come see us at Par Mar Stores, and remember, if there's not a Par Mar store near you now, there will be soon.
Wilson Martino Dental. Did you know that 95% of our dentists have graduated from WVU? And many former players and WVU coaches trust Wilson Martino Dental with their oral health. The Mountaineers and Wilson Martino Dental. Yeah, we do that.